What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Magma. Thanks for stopping by my video. I just want to do a video about DMX because he was one of my favorite rappers. So I want to just do a video just talking about, you know, his life, music, and so forth. So DMX was born December 18th, 1970. And it's like various accounts, they don't know if he was born in Baltimore or Mount Vernon, New York. But he grew up in Yonkers. As a child, he had bronchitis, asthma, so that gave him that raspy voice that we all know and love. He had a hard life, man. I mean, for a child to go through being abused and just having his mom just drop him off at a youth center at the age, I'm not sure what age he was, 7 or 8, without him even knowing what was going on or where he was going. Mom just dropped him off and said she'd come back and, you know, whatever, and she didn't come back. So he was going to group homes. Now, any type of child going through that type of stuff early on is going to cause some type of, you know, trauma. You know what I'm saying? Making you feel like you probably not loved. You know, nobody wants you. Father leaving when he was 7 years old, just walking out. And then he turned to the, you know, going around robbing people, snatching purses, and they said he didn't even have a gun. He was just using his dog. You know, his dogs, you know, his favorite dogs were pit bulls. So he's going around just, I guess, sicking dogs on people or threatening sicking dogs on people for them to give up, you know, whatever they had. You know, he was going around sleeping in Salvation Army clothes bins, and you know, that's when he befriended stray dogs. Going from having those type of things happen to you, and at 14, he said that somebody gave him a lace joint, and that's what started all the hard drugs that he was doing. And let's see. And he blames that on the guy that gave him the lace joint. And I mean, I think till the day he passed away, I think I read a title that said he denies being the one to introduce DMX to the hard drugs or whatever. But according to DMX, he's the one. And DMX gets choked up whenever he mentions that incident. In high school, Yonkers Middle School, he was second fastest on the track and field varsity. So I don't know why, if he was, you know, why he didn't stick to that or like try out for football or something like that. But he had bad grades, so that probably played a part. You know, like I said, when you go through stuff as a young kid and you're troubled, you can't expect somebody to go through, a child to go through that much trauma and just be on the straight and narrow. I mean, it's almost impossible for that to happen. But at age 14 in 1984, you know, he got started in the music industry doing beatboxing for a guy named Reddy Ron. After serving time in prison and stealing dogs, he began writing lyrics, performing at local recreation centers for young children. And then in 1988, while in prison for carjacking, he began dedicating almost all of his free time writing lyrics and meeting a rapper named K Solo. Now everybody know that K Solo and DMX had a beef. If you're a real DMX fan, you know that he had beef with K Solo. And if you know who K Solo was the one that was always spelling stuff in his rhymes. I would say go check out the Rough Rider documentary, and so you can know the story of DMX. It has to be a movie that comes out now. It should have been done while he was alive. You know what I'm saying? So he can put his own stamp on it and say, no, it happened this way. This is what happened. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? I think we all should honor people when they, by doing movies about them while they're alive, so they can have some input on it. So going through all that, DMX first album dropped when he was 27 or 28 years old. Now it probably would have came out sooner, but I think he did a few years in prison, in his early 20s. So by the time he came out, then that's when, he dropped that album. When I first heard DMX, if everybody knows me, if you go back and look at some of my early videos, you see I have a picture of Tupac in the background. And Tupac was, I'm the biggest Tupac fan. I think Tupac is #1 on my top 5. And then when Tupac passed away, it was like a little void in rap for me. You know what I'm saying? Now I have Scarface, and then DMX in my top 5. So when Tupac died, I started listening heavily to Scarface, but I still was listening to Tupac all the time. I'm still listening to Tupac, It was like up until maybe I would say 3 years ago or so, I was listening to Tupac every day. But when DMX came out, I was like, whoa. When he came out with that Rough Rider anthem, I was like, who is this dude? Then I was like, hold up, is this dude trying to be like a Tupac or something? Because, in the video, he had, he was bald, he had a bald head, he had the shirt off, but he had a bandana on. But it was in a different way than Tupac usually wear it. And up until that point, it was mainly Tupac that wore bandanas on his head. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, I like the music, but then I was like, oh, hold up. Then I got the album. I like, this dude is different. His voice and what he talks about, the street, and then he does the little prayer at the end of the albums and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, this dude is no joke. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can rock with this dude. I was like, I like this. That first album, the whole joint, almost nothing on that whole album that I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it's some people, their albums, I might like, if they have like maybe 15 songs, I might like maybe 7 of them, 8 of them, or whatever, not including the skits, you know what I'm saying? But It's Dark and Hell is Hot 98, man, I was like, yo. Then a few months later, he dropped the other one. So I immediately went and copped that. My favorite DMX song is Slippin'. Because like I said, that whole first album, it was like all them songs, was up there. But then when he came out with Slippin' on the second album, I was like, yo, this, then when I saw the video, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to cop this. But then I got the album, and on the album, if you notice, any real DMX fan probably already know this information. But, on the album, the song was edited just like the video. And I read because the people that own the publishing to the sample that he used, and Grover is sample from Grover Washington Jr.'s Moonstreams. Now, if you go look that up and fast forward to 20 seconds, that's where you hear the sample. And I heard that the people that own the publishing only would let DMX use it if he didn't curse on the song. And have that only, you know, if he wouldn't curse on the song, so he had to put that on the album without any cursing. So I was wondering, but when I was listening to it, the first time I listened to it, I didn't really notice that it was, you know, edited. You know, I just thought they was adding the what and huh, you know, and all this other stuff, because that's what he do with his music. And I was like, hold up, oh, they editing that part and putting the what where the curses go. So, and then as I got older, that's when I found out about why they had it like that, and you know, on the album. But it's different versions of that song. I think it's 2 other versions of that song where without any edits, all the cursing, all the coke references and things like that. It's one where you have the girl on this harmonizing, and it's one without. Both are unedited. So if you didn't know that, you can go and check it out and look for it. But yeah, that's my favorite song, but because of what he talked about. I remember at my time and let me back up. And the first album where I checked, cause I was trying to be a rapper too, back in 2000. And in the first album, I looked on the back of the CD information, and you know, DMX he recorded his first album right up the street from my grandmother's house in Maryland. And I was like, oh, I got to go to that studio. You know, I don't know. I'm just thinking if that's where he recorded his album, I have to go to that studio and check it out. So I go to that studio and I'm thinking, you know, I'm coming in there. You know, I knew it was gonna be expensive, but I didn't know it was gonna be that expensive to go there. So when I went there, they were talking about 5 G's for one studio session. That was Studio A. So I was like, you know, and Studio B was like maybe 500 or something like that or whatever. But I was going there just to see where DMX recorded, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, somebody from New York comes to, you know, Maryland to record an album right up the street from where my grandmother lived at. I'm like, oh. I never heard of that. And you know what I'm saying? Because people always go to New York or California or whatever to record, you know. So I thought that was interesting. I just want to go there and see and look, but I went there and seen it. But with the Slippin' song, around that time I was thinking about rapping. One of those lyrics, the lyrics that he said something about, he had to, you know, he's about to have a son, you know what I'm saying? And I had a son in 2000 and I was trying to rap, but, you know, I wasn't out there, you know, doing any dirt at that time, you know, so I didn't really have money like that to put together. You know, I made like maybe I recorded like 3 songs. You know, so I ain't really had that much money, so I had to like set that aside and put fake stuff on. You know, just like he said, had to put fake stuff on my back again and all this other stuff. So I related to a lot of stuff in that song, and I was like, yeah, man. He said something got to give, something got to change, because I got a son. So I was like, yeah, that hit me, because I was like, yeah, because I feel you. I understand that whole situation. But yeah, that's my favorite song. And I have other songs too, you know, but that's my favorite. And like I said, I have DMX in my top 5. And speaking of top 5, if you didn't know this, DMX has a cameo in the movie Top 5 with Chris Rock. And if you want to laugh, you know what I'm saying, you want to remember DMX and smile, go to, just type in on YouTube Top 5 DMX and you'll see his cameo. Man, that thing is hilarious. For DMX to come up from those situations growing up to overcoming and being successful using his gift to get out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? And to be rich. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's like, you know, I'm just proud of him for doing that. And it had to, he couldn't come out of it without being scarred and without having some demons. You know what I'm saying? So for him, I'm sure he probably didn't think he would live to be 30. Probably didn't think he would live to be 25. But he ended up living to be 50. And a lot of our favorite rappers don't live to be 50. I mean, coming from that, you know, he lived his life. Can you imagine if Tupac lived to be 50? But I'm thinking he probably would have ended up being a preacher by the time he was 60, if he lived to be 60. Had a heart attack from an overdose, which I don't think that's true. Because as you've seen, even though I had commented on the Drink Champs video. If you go and you watch the Drink Champs video with DMX, the second one, you know, I was like, he's a recovering addict. Y'all got him taking shots. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know liquor's not a gateway drug, gateway whatever it may be, but I mean, that might lead to something. Like, why y'all got this man on here doing that? But I don't think that he was back on drugs like that. They said it could be because of the vaccine. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? That's up for debate, but I don't know. But his album drops, I think I heard April 30th, and that's crazy. He just finished the album after being away since 2012. And he had a single that came out in 2016 called Blood Red, and I had it on my music app, and all of a sudden, I think maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, it was off, and I couldn't find it nowhere. I was like, oh, he about to come out with something. This was like 2016, and when I downloaded it, I was like, oh, it's Blood Red. This is kind of tight. You know what I'm saying? So you might can go online and listen to it on YouTube, but I can't find it anywhere. So I was thinking he was gonna come out with something then, but it took him, you know, he was coming out with something. He was doing the album, he just finished it. He was on Drink Champs talking about it. He was very proud of the people that wanted to be a part of the project. And that's crazy though, that a whole lot of people want to be a part of this project. Like everybody knew that this was going to be the last time we'd hear from him or something. You know? It's just crazy how life works like that. In closing, I just want to say that DMX will be highly missed. He'll be resting in peace. He's finally at peace right now. And if you've seen the funeral online, if not, go over and check it out. It was nice. It was a nice send-off. I'm sure he was looking down, smiling at all the little Rough Riders out there, everybody on motorcycles, four-wheelers. And yeah, that's it for this video. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and share this video. I'm Chris Magma. I'll see y'all in the next one.